Sorry about that. Um, so, so the so this is the idea. Hazina ami teresi. Listen, to my Torah. Keep the Torah as we obey it. Simple explanation. Another opinion of what does it mean, ha'azina Torasi, to listen to my Torah, is to recognize that base David, the house of David, um, is the only king over the Yidden. And as we say, even in our like weekly davening, we say Lo Yasir Shevet Mi Yehuda, that we shouldn't turn away from Yehuda, that David HaMelech should, him and his descendants should forever be the king of Israel. We say it in our singing, David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayam. He lives forever, and we know that Mashiach comes from David, and so um, this is what it simply means. Ha'azina is Torah. See, listen to my Torah. Another opinion that comes from the Alshich and from the Sforno, who says that people have to learn the laws of reward and punishment, because we have to know that when we do mitzvahs, we keep Torah, we will be rewarded, and when we don't, we will be punished. And we don't like to think about that, so we concentrate on the we will be rewarded. Please God. Um, but then the commentaries go a little bit further and say, what does it mean then? Hatu azneichem leimrei fi. Turn your ears to the words of my mouth. And the commentaries explain that Imre Fi, the words of my mouth, different to the laws of Torah, Imre Fi are the stories. And one of the things that David HaMelech is telling us, and we hear it over and over again, we have to tell the stories of Torah. We have to tell the stories of the miracles. We have to tell the stories of the things that Hashem does, because those are the things that give us faith, that give us emunah, that give us strength. So to be able to keep Torah. And the commentaries explain that it works both ways. We need these stories in order to give us enough faith and push us to actually go learn. But we also need sometimes to learn in order to desire the stories, to want to be able to even believe in the stories. And this is so much about why Yiddishkeit is so different to all other kinds of formal religion. Is that for us it's not just a book of laws; it's a story of people who are dedicated to Hashem and who have been shown miracles by Hashem over and over and over again. And it's those miracles that give us faith and let us continue, let us carry on. So yeah, my daughter Ita went on a Shabbaton to the Rabashkin's house, and so Shalom Rabashkin is very famous for his Aleph Beis Gimel, right? Emunah, Bitachon, and Geula. And he goes everywhere he goes. He speaks about having emunah, having bitachon, and that brings us to a space of personal redemption and communal redemption. So I said to her, "How was the Shabbaton?" So she said, "Ma, I don't hear the word emunah anymore." So I said, "Why?" She says, "It's so scary to believe too much." Okay, so we spoke about it. We spoke about it a lot. Like, what does belief do for us? Does belief make us want to keep, or is it when we keeping that we want to believe? Like, which way around is it? And here, very clearly, David HaMelech says there's two parts. There is Ha'azina Ami Terasi. My nation, you must listen to the Torah. You must do what it says in the Torah. That's whether you believe or you don't, just do it. And then there's Hatu Azneichem Le'imrei Fi, which is the motivate yourself, inspire yourself, have faith, so that you can do things more easily. And then the Ramelech continues with Pasuk Beis, and he says, "Eftacha b'mashal pi." I'm going to begin with a mashal, a parable. Abia chidos mini kedem, and I'll bring riddles from a long time ago. So he says, I'm going to open with a mashal, and I'm going to bring you riddles. What is he actually? What does he actually mean? What is he saying? So Rashi says simply, the Torah is a mashal. What does it mean? The Torah is a mashal. The Torah is a mashal. Says what is a mashal? So a mashal is a thing that we use in order to take a very high concept and be able to understand it in our limited brains. So most famously, we know that Shlomo HaMelech, it says that what was one of his clevernesses, what was so great about him, he used to take the highest concepts and he could explain them to us or to the people in a way that they could understand it. And it's one of the compliments we often give a good speaker, where we say, sure, they spoke such high things, but they were able to bring it down to a level that we could all understand it. And that was Shlomo HaMelech, obviously at a much greater level. It says that he would make 360 mashals, and so taking a very, very high concept and bringing it down to a level that we humans could understand what it was. So now let's go back to that statement. The world is a mashal. The Torah is a mashal. Hashem is much too big for most of our brains to, I think, for all of our brains to really understand what it is. Even Moshe Rabbeinu, until the day he died, he couldn't understand everything. So how do we understand, and what does the Torah do for us? The Torah takes very, very, very high concepts and brings them into a space that my little brain can absorb some of it. And so this is what David HaMelech is saying over here. He's saying, I'm going to tell you the Torah. And what is the Torah? The Torah is simply a mashal. It's a way for us to be able to understand the highest spiritual things. It's a way for us to understand Hashem. And this is the mashal. So that's the one opinion, Rashi's opinion, actually, of what it means, Eftecha b'mashal pi. Another opinion of what Rashi means when he says Eftecha, sorry, not what Rashi, what David HaMelech means when he says Eftecha b'mashal pi, says that, and then he carries on and says, Abia chidos mini kedem, I'm going to tell you riddles from a long time ago. Says the Alshich that the whole of creation will forever remain a riddle to us. We're always going to learn it. We're going to study it. We're going to learn lots of different mafarshim. We're going to have lots of different discussions. We're going to understand it better or worse. But each of us need to know that we will never understand creation. In like what actually happened, what is happening. It will always remain a riddle for us. As teachers, we've always had this debate, because when I came to teach in Torah Academy, they start teaching Sefer Bereshis in the high school from Parshas Noach, and they leave out the first parsha. And like, I've always been bothered by that, because it means that when the girls finish learning the whole of Sefer Bereshis, they haven't learned the first Parshas Bereshis. And the man who was the principal at the time said, no, Parshas Bereshis is much too hard. How does a teacher stand in the classroom and think she's explaining the story of creation? So this is exactly what David HaMelech is saying over here. Abia chidos mini kedem. I'm bringing you riddles from right from the beginning of time. So yes, we are obligated to learn, but we're also obligated to know that what we're learning is just the tip of the iceberg. The girls in grade 11 always laugh when I tell them this, and I did today because we finished something. When we say chazak, actually what I want my class to say is, we finished learning it at this level, grade 11 level, and my hope as a teacher is that now you are inspired to go and learn it. Like now you should have a little bit of taste of the greatness of what we just learned, and now go learn it. And that's actually how we're all supposed to be. We're all supposed to look at Torah, and that's how we're supposed to feel about it. I've just skimmed the top of the Torah. I've just skimmed the top of understanding this. It motivated me. It excited me. It made me interested. But I know without doubt that I know so little, that I've learned so little, and that I understand so little. It is all abia chidos mini kedem. These are all riddles for us. And he continues and he says, so he says that Asher Asher Shamanu v'Nedaim. These are ones we heard and we know. V'Avosenu Sipru Lanu. And our fathers told them to us. And so this is the importance of tradition, Torah and tradition. That when it comes to Torah, it's not just something that could be new or could be old. It's not something that can change. It's the same story with the same Torah, with the same mitzvahs that our fathers told us, and we know, and from before that, and from before that. And the Radak explains that the reason we have emunah, and the reason we have bitachon, and the reason we have faith, and the reason we keep on doing it is because it's something that's been passed down generation after generation. There's a beautiful song that I was going to say the children sing, but we all sing it actually, and it's a story of a little boy waiting for a ship to come, and someone going past asks him, like, "Why are you standing there? Why are you waiting?" And it's the mashal of him waiting for Mashiach, and the captain of another ship says to him, "How do you know that the ship is coming? You keep on saying you're waiting for a ship. How do you know it's really coming? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not coming." And he says, "No, I know that it's coming. How do I know? Because the captain has promised me." That's the line of the song. The captain has promised and told me so. And the other person says, "So why do you believe it? Like, how do you?" So he says, "Because I am his son. He's my father and I'm his son, and that's why I believe it." And this is what David HaMelech is telling us over here. Our belief, our emunah, has to be because the captain has promised us and we are his son, right? Hashem has promised us that this is what's going to be, and it's going to be okay. And that's why we have emunah, and we have bitachon. He says, pasuk Daled. He says, "Lein nechachid mibneihem." Won't hide from their children. The Dur Acharon Mesaprim Tilos Hashem. Later generations are going to say these praises of Hashem, the Ezuzoi, the Niflois of Asher Asa, His might and the wonders that we've done. And this is the concept that we have, that we are Maminim b'nei Maminim. We are believers, the sons of believers, and we want to have it that the generations before us told us the greatness of Hashem, and we want to have confidence that the generations after us will also tell the things, the great things, the praises, the wonders that Hashem does. Vayakum Vayakem Edus B'Yaakov. He sat down. Edus. We're going to go into a little bit more detail. Here we'll just say practices for Yaakov. The Torah some be Israel, and Torah he's put in Israel. Asher tziva es avisenu, he commanded our fathers lahediam livneihem, to tell it to their children. So normally when we use the word edus, we're talking about there's three different kinds of mitzvahs, and there's one kind of mitzvah called the edus. Those are the mitzvahs which are there as a testimony. So we keep Shabbos because that is an edus. It's a testimony that Hashem rested on the seventh day. So edus simply translates as testimony. It's a mitzvah that we do that makes sense to us. It's logical. We're proving something. We're showing something. So of course we do that because it's logical. So it says over here, Yaakov edus b'Yaakov. He made these things among us, Yaakov, among us Jews, that prove that Hashem is Hashem. And the commentaries tell us that what is this edus here, what is it referring to specifically, is Torah stories. We need to tell over the stories of the Torah over and over and over and over again. Vayakam edus b'Yaakov. We have to tell over the stories because that's what we need in order to trust and believe in Hashem. And so you don't have to be a big Torah scholar. You don't have to understand deep things. You don't have to understand whatever the maths or the diktuk or the whatever it is. Just hearing the stories is enough to inspire and to motivate us. Um, and the biggest aidus that there is a God, the biggest testimony that there is a God, is that we still exist, that there are yet until today. And that is the aidus, that is the ultimate aidus, that Hashem exists. Then we have the Torah, the second line, the Torah Sam Yisrael, and Torah he put in Israel. Asher tziva esav, and he commanded it to our fathers. And the commentaries tell us that when it says over here Torah Sam Yisrael, he put Torah in Israel. So this is talking about the mitzvahs that don't appeal to us. So all of us have mitzvahs which we like better, some mitzvahs which we like worse, and some mitzvahs which you don't like at all. And those mitzvahs, the mitzvahs that he put into the world, that are part of the 613 mitzvahs of the Torah, there might be some that we don't like at all. And those ones, why do we do them? Asher tziva esav eseinu, he commanded us to do them, like it or not. The Medrash says, read the words Asher Sam Yisrael, and instead of reading Sam with its most literal translation, he put, read it as Sam, which is a medicine or a potion, and says, the Torah Sam Yisrael. Torah is the potion, it's the medicine for us, for life. So if you need to know what will make us spiritually and possibly physically healthy as well, that's going to be Torah, that Hashem has commanded us to do. So it's interesting that in this same pasuk, David HaMelech uses both names of Yaakov. He uses the name Yaakov and he uses the name Yisrael. When he speaks about keeping mitzvahs, he uses the name Yaakov. When he talks about study of Torah, the Torah Sam Yisrael, he uses the name Yisrael, which is the more spiritual name of Yaakov, and explains to us that when it comes to just doing mitzvahs, it doesn't matter how great or how little you are. Everybody keeps the mitzvah the same way. So everybody has to eat matzah on the Seder night. Everybody has to have a mezuzah on the door. There's mitzvahs that it doesn't matter if you're the biggest tzaddik or the lowest of low ignoramus, whoever you are. The mitzvah is the mitzvah. That's Yaakov. We have to just do the mitzvahs, and it doesn't matter your greatness or your smallness in it. When it comes to study of Torah, and then looking for extras and all of that, that's when we are Yisrael, where some people are going to learn Torah at one level, other people are going to learn Torah at a different level. Some people are going to connect at this level, some people are going to connect at that level, and that is Yisrael. And so we have both of those. We have that the miracles are going to affect Yaakov and Yisrael, the general population and the specifics in the population. And he tells us why. He says, "Leman yedu derech Haron," so the next generation will know. Banim yivaledu, and children that are still going to be born. Yakumu v'sapru livnehem, will get up and will tell these stories to their children. V'yasimu v'leikim kislam, and they'll place their trust in Hashem. V'lo yishkachu ma'al lekel, and they won't forget the great things that Hashem did. V'mitzvaysav yintzayru, and they will keep His commandments. V'lo yihiyu ka'avaisam, and they won't be like their fathers. Dar seire umeire, a rebellious generation. Dar lo heichin libai, a generation who did not prepare their hearts for ne'emana eskel ruchai, and they were not faithful to Hashem. So this is huge. So now the next couple of psukim David Melech is going to really go for the Yidden. Okay, really go. And he first of all refers to the Jews who came out of Egypt as the Dor Seira Meire, a rebellious generation. He called them a nation who didn't, who although they received the Torah, they weren't. They weren't loyal to Hashem at all. So even though they had unbelievable faith, and it seems to us, because they were the Dor Deah, they were this great generation which deserved to be taken out of Egypt, and they saw all the miracles in Egypt, and they saw the miracle of the splitting sea, and they saw the miracles of I think the one after another. They tested Hashem, and they were not faithful. They were rebellious to Hashem. And now what David HaMelech does in the next couple of psukim is he goes through the different rebellious things that they did. So he starts off pasuk tes, and he says, "Bnei Ephraim, the sons of Ephraim, noshkei reimei keshes, they relied on their skill as archers. Hafchu b'yom krav, but they turned around and ran on the day of battle." So the story of Bnei Ephraim. So Ephraim was the one tribe that did not behave like part of the Jewish nation. The Yidden knew that Galus was supposed to be 400 years. They counted the years from when Yitzchak was born, but the tribe of Ephraim counted the years from the Bris Bein HaPesurim, which was 30 years earlier. So 30 years before, they decided it was time for them to leave Egypt. And so one of the grandsons of Ephraim got up. He behaved like a Navi Sheker, and he declared that Hashem told him it was time to take the Jews out of Egypt. Nobody listened to him except for the tribe of Ephraim. And they gathered their wives and their children, and off they went. And according to the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, they were chased and killed by the Egyptians. Another opinion, which comes in the Shmais Rabbah, says that they got out of Egypt and they marched towards Eretz Yisrael, and they crossed into the land of the Plishtim. And there the Plishtim attacked them and killed them and didn't bury them, left their bodies in piles all over the land of the Plishtim, which is the reason that's brought why when they were going from Egypt to Israel, Hashem didn't let them pass through the land of the Plishtim. He made them go in this like circle route, so that they shouldn't discover the bodies of the people of Ephraim, and be freaked out by this gruesome discovery. So they were very, very good bowsmen, and they relied completely on their abilities. They didn't have emunah, they didn't have bitachon, and so they didn't listen to Hashem when He said, "Don't leave Egypt." And yeah, they actually ridiculed all the Jews who stayed behind, and then they paid for their behavior with death. And so now the next psukim are going to continue after the Bnei Ephraim and keep on telling us about all the various things that the Jews did wrong while they were in the desert. And I guess that's where we are going up to today. And we will carry on with this chapter next time, please God. I wish you all a good Shabbos.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rivki. And you have a good Shabbos too. And just take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Rivki. Good Shabbos.
Bye, everyone.
Good Shabbos.